Start button. As we continue with our faculty development program on tools and techniques for OBE assessment, including AI, we now move on to our next technical session, the art and science of question paper setting. It is my privilege and honor to introduce our esteemed resource person for this session, Dr. Baba Gnanakumar, Director for Consultancy and Corporate Training at Christu Jayanti deemed to be University. An eminent academician, researcher, and educational leader, Sir is a gold medalist in commerce and had the distinguished honor of receiving his gold medal from the then President of India, Sri K.R. Narayanan, in 1992. Sir has published over 217 research papers, completed 25 research projects, and has more than 1,300 Google Scholar citations. His outstanding contribution have earned him several prestigious national and international awards, and he has delivered over 120 expert sessions as a resource person. On behalf of the Internal Quality Assurance Cell and the organizing committee, I extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to you, sir. We are delighted to have you with us and look forward to an insightful session. May I now request Sir to kindly take over the session.
Thank you, Dr. Murali sir, for having nice introduction. I hope my PowerPoint, every presentation has been already shared with the faculty. So don't worry, I am not going for all the 100 plus slides. I wish to tell about how we can use the OBE inside the classroom. That is my concept. Okay, let us share the one. I hope you are able to see the slides. Murali sir, are you able to see the slide?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, madam. Okay. So before that, I already shared something in the chat. Chat, if possible, you can download the Claude AI in your laptop, or you can register with your college mail ID, so that you can also simultaneously practice all those things. Okay. So my topic is art and science of question paper setting. It is not the summative assessment. I am going to discuss only the formative assessment inside the class. So that is my area. So before going that, be clear that whatever we are going to discuss is only for the academic purpose, and this is for the formative assessment. Of course, in summative assessment, Viva-wise exam will come. Otherwise, it is simply the formative assessment, that too inside the classroom. So all the names, scenarios, whatever we are given in these slides are only for illustrative, not for any other purpose. Okay. So this is my outcome. My outcome of this presentation is what teacher can do inside the classroom. Because you are already teaching, now we are integrating the OBE with all the domains. So inside the classroom only we can check the two other domains. Usually our question paper, everything is purely based upon the cognitive domain. But inside the classroom, we need affinity domain and psychomotor domain. So after completion of this session, I think you are able to manage your classroom also. This also comes under the learning technology. If you are going and standing inside the classroom, what type of question you can ask to the students? That is what we are going to find out. So that is the outcome of this one. So let us start with that one. our aim, we have to make our students from thinkers to thinkers. In our FDP program already, Professor Ved Prakash clearly mentioned about the role of thinkers. Everybody as a human being is having the thinking power. But how we are going to convert into thinkers? That is the question mark. So this presentation is about the thinkers. Once again, it is inside the classroom. And this is purely based upon the UNESCO. In the year 2023 in Paris conference, the UNESCO has taken a decision. In case of higher learning education system all over the globe, we can integrate even the affinitive and psychomotor domain. So far, we are thinking about cognitive Bloom's taxonomy. So, how we can integrate? Of course, in case of the examination point of view, in summative assessment, we won't do. But inside the classroom, we can include because the behavior of the students are changing. And we need some ethical behavior inside the classroom also. Since the world has changed, ethics also changed. So how to bring all those things inside the classroom? A nice organization, I think most of you know, in ranking, MIT ranks #1. They have taken a nice decision to integrate the remaining two domains, that is both affinitive and psychomotor domain, along with cognitive domain inside the classroom. So the major motivation comes from the MIT Center of Learning and Teaching, along with Pennsylvania University, created the assessment techniques. Why can't we can move towards the formative assessment inside the classroom? Because students are using mobile phone, we can't change the behavior. It is the order of the day. So all these things we can't make changes. By the time, how we can make our students to enable the thinking power. So nice measures as taken by this MIT along with 3 other universities in US, and they implemented in the year 2023 in the second part and made it a success. So once again in 2024, UNESCO clearly mentioned that why can't we can create the rules for introducing all these domains. Okay. And UNESCO also clearly mentioned that hereafter the education system should move from inclusion. In those days, the education was considered as the reality. You can see the image, you can easily understand the meaning of all those things. Then we consider everybody is equal. We follow the equality principle. Then we moved on to the equity. Why can't we have to find out slow learners, fast learners? Then we have to provide some justice. We can remove the barriers to the education. Everybody can study. But now UNESCO moved towards the inclusion. There is no slow learners, fast learners. Everybody can do whatever they studied. So please understand, inside the classroom, we can't classify as slow learners and fast learners when you are doing this type of activity. In inclusive education, all the barriers have been removed. All the students are coming under the one umbrella and they can showcase their talent, thinking power according to the outcome of our study. That is the core intention of introducing this type of learning system by the UNESCO. Let us move on to the architecture. So far, we designed clearly based upon the cognitive architecture. Now, in case of along with the cognitive architecture, the concept of affiliative psychomotor and the thinking power of the students has been linked. So we have to go according to the thinking power of the students. So now, the intention is first thing, what is the intent level of answering by the students? Before commencing your teaching, we have to find out whether students are able to answer this question. If you are asking a question without the knowledge of the student, it is waste. We have to know. We have not started teaching. Before teaching, we can't ask the question about the topic. Okay. So first level, in my opinion, select the topic you want to teach. I hope more than 100 or 200 participants are there. So now you can find out any one of your topic for me. Select one topic, what you are going to create and format your assessment, that too inside the classroom. Try to find out one topic and post it in the chat. What is the topic you identified nicely? Yes. Don't worry about this other thing. Find out a nice topic, what you want to teach today. I think ethical issues in group counseling. Okay, good. Any topic relating to your subject, you need not worry about anything, whether it is correct or wrong. Only one answer has come. Yes. Some marked difference in student learning, residential areas, a law of demand, nice thing. I am from commerce and management background. Especially Janani madam mentioned that financial management. You can find out one small topic under the financial management. Yes, market structure. Your topic should be well defined. Which market structure you are studying. Okay, good. So now you, yes, financial leverage. Good. It is very easy in case of science stream. I think science stream I can't identify except one. Good. Now Gayatri madam has identified that one. Yes, now the stage of identification of the uh, first part is over. That means that you have identified nicely the topic. We will move on to the next level. So now the topic has been identified by you. So you can go for the next level, whether we can teach this to our students. Okay. What is the outcome of your topic? Identify the outcome of your topic and what is the level of thinking power you required for our student. Okay. What is the intended thinking outcome for the student? Say, for example, some of you identified the financial leverage. What is the outcome of the financial leverage you are expecting? And very important thing, what is the thinking power needed to teach this topic from the student side? Try to find out this thing. Okay. Thinking powers are in different style. You can see there are 10 thinking powers. So try to find out some of the thinking power required by your student. Financial basic thing is the analytical thinking. If a student wishes to study about the financial leverage, definitely they should have the analytical thinking. They must know how to calculate the financial leverage, everything. Okay. What is the level of thinking you expected? Try to find out. It starts from analytical thinking, holistic thinking, intuitive thinking, and up to the comparative thinking. The last level I have not mentioned yet, that is the metacognitive thinking. That is thinking of thinking. Especially when you are conducting the Viva-wise examination, we need such type of thinking. Metacognitive thinking. We are expecting from the students. Yes, I hope some of you have identified the thinking power. Yes, you can post in the group, in the chat. What is the thinking power you are expecting from your students for that topic? Some of you mentioned the analysis of persons. What type of thinking power students need to teach that one? Yes, social and contextual thinking, just great matter for your topic. Yes, analytical thinking, Some of them mentioning the topic, good. Gayatri Madam mentioned analytical thinking. Yes. Experiential thinking, good. Yes, come on. Yes, comparative thinking, creative thinking, good. For your topic, now you are identified. I think you can identify only one area. Don't go for more things because we are expecting this taxonomy level clearly before going to that organization. Anandra is value-based ethical thinking. Yes, good. Now most of you have identified the thinking power. So, but in case of Viva-wise examination, we need metacognitive thinking. Okay. Yes, for input tax credit analytical thinking. Yes, now the thinking power you identified. Before going to the class, you are identifying what is the thinking power of the students. We expect such type of thinking power. So you have to make our students to think inside the class. We'll move on to the next level. Yes, now you identify the thinking power. As per our outcome-based education, we have to integrate with the cognitive domain, affinitive domain, as well as the psychomotor domain, because this is happening inside the class. If students are writing the exam, we have to stick on only the cognitive. So now we have to raise questions to the students. That questions are called as the GRQ, that is graded response questions. Graded response question means the questions you are throwing to the students, maybe in some cases in a group form to understand, and they have to do step by step. That is, usually, previously the science faculty followed in case of STEM, but now it comes to the arts and science also. That is why in my slide I have given the example from the commerce background, because now we are moving towards the STEM in commerce also. So we need a different type of questions for our students. So now we identified the thinking power. These are all things before going to the classroom, the student thinking level. We are expecting now how to integrate all these domains inside the class. Okay. So now one part over, another part. We have to find out whether we can go to the cognitive knowledge inside the class, or whether we can stop with affinity, or whether we can go up to psychomotor. That you have to decide. How you can decide? You can't decide in your room and take decision, because these domains we have to check inside the classroom. So when you entered into the classroom, you have to find out what is the domain knowledge students are having by the time. Usually in case of Indian context, they used to say that morning first hour, students are having very good thinking power, and their domain will be even psychomotor domain. But now this is the time we have to enter into the class, and what is the domain knowledge at that time. We can't expect same student should have cognitive domain now and next day different one. Yes, it may be possible in most of the cases. Okay, easiest way, this is a nice experience given by one of my students from psychology. How you can find out the cognitive domain is more inside the class, or affinitive domain inside the class, or psychomotor domain is high in the class. But a simple thing, when students are coming late, if the cognitive domain is high, he will tell a nice reason and try to enter into the class. If the affinitive domain is high, he will give respect to the teacher, and based upon the respect, he will take over. If a student is having the psychomotor domain, he is very silent. 99%. He will speak with the eyes to the class teacher. He will speak, shall I come? But he won't speak through the voice. That is what our psychology students taught me. One of my best students from the psychology, I think psychology faculty, Leo, he taught me nicely, sir, how we can find out the cognitive domain, affective domain, and psychomotor domain inside the class. He simply told when a student say the answer, when you are taking the attendance inside the class, if a student is speaking yes in a loud voice, he is having only cognitive domain. If a student is speaking that yes sir and smiling at you, student is dominated with affective domain. And a student is simply raising the left hand, not the right hand, then his level is in psychomotor domain inside the class. Okay, simple thing. Why the left hand? Because in right hand he is using his laptop or notes. He is ready for listening you. Simple thing. Our psychology department nicely identified that one. They taught me nicely. So when you enter in the class, you can notice all those things. When you are taking the attendance and the latecomers, you can easily find out what is the domain inside the classroom at present. Anyhow, this is the formative assessment inside the classroom. We are not going for the examination. In summative exam, it is entirely different. So be clear. So there we have to check only the cognitive part. We can't check affective as well as the psychomotor part in the one. Okay. So now you nicely identified what is the student's domain by the time you are inside the class. So you clearly identified most of the students are now only in cognitive style, or students are even in psychomotor style, because in our side, all the domain type of students may be sitting. Okay. So now you have to start the questions. How you can start this the easiest way? The rule has been given and defined well by the UNESCO, because each and every student is having a different level of knowledge. The neurodiverse learners are inside the class. So how we can manage the neurodiversified students? Here is a nice example. Yes. So it is based upon our thinking framework. What you have to do? If a student is coming under the first thinking power, say for example, you already identified that your student is coming in the analytical thinking. Analytical thinking means you want to concentrate only on cognitive domain, because most of the students are having the cognitive domain inside the classroom. So you will take only two words, analyze and evaluate. If you notice that your students are nicely cooperating with you and ready to do anything by a nice smile, you can go for the affective domain, that is responding. And your students are very good. Some of the students are uh, ready with everything. They are ready to listen you and ready to do your work. Then you can go to the psychomotor domain. That is the manipulation. So it is based upon the thinking power you identified. Say for example, here one faculty identified the creative thinking. So creative thinking means she is entering into the class with the aim of outcome of students. They have to think creatively. So what she will think, she has to identify the cognitive domain, create. You know about that one. Cognitive domain, everybody knows very nicely. Then she has to think whether our students are friendly with it, then value in affective domain. In case of psychomotor domain, origination, whether they are able to do. design something inside the classroom. That is the psychomotor domain. So now you have to identify clearly. These are the rules created to introduce all these three domains inside the class. So one faculty mentioned the comparative thinking. So comparative thinking means she has to find out inside the classroom whether our students are having cognitive power or affective domain power or psychomotor domain power. So she has to find out the verb of asking questions from the analyze. If the students are coming under the affective, she has to find out the valuing, what is the value proportion. Then if the students are in psychomotor, whether they can manipulate and they themselves prepare that one. Okay. So this is the core table we already shared with you. Now your turn is very important thing. Now we can use the AI tool inside the classroom, but in your laptop only to find out what we can do, how we can start the assessment inside the class. There are a number of tools, of course, Gemini, Copilot, DeepSeek. Number of things are there. It depends upon you which AI you can use. But when you are using AI, we have to be very careful. And very important thing is when you are using the AI, first input the content. Say, for example, if you are going to teach the financial leverage, identify the content of the financial leverage in PDF form or from any other book. First, you have to input that one. That is the biggest one. If you fail to input that one, AI will give its own result. So what I'm suggesting, best thing, what topic you are going to teach, download the PDF format of the textbook and make it yourself. Now you can come into the AI Cloud. I think most of you are using AI Cloud or either Gemini. Okay. Use the Cloud or Gemini, whatever it may be. You are going to use AI to create the question. Very important thing. You must know the Bloom's level. And these are all the stages we already shared with you. So let us move on to the first sample. Assume that analytical thinking, financial leverage you are going to teach, and you are expecting the analytical thinking. All the thinking level I have given, I think all the faculty might have the PowerPoint in PDF format, so you need not worry. First, you have identified as the thinking level as the analytical thinking. Okay, good. Now, what are all the domains coming with the analytical thinking based upon your class? If class students are only in cognitive, stop with analyze and evaluate. If the students are coming with affective domain, go to responding. If your students are moving at that time inside the class, you can move towards the psychomotor domain. So 3 you have identified now. Once you started identifying, you have to find out which area you are going to. Here in the presentation, I mentioned the break-even point. Everybody know break-even point means there is no profit or no loss. Science faculty, most of the things are analytical thinking because they know physical sciences. Mixing 2 items will get only one output. I have taken the sample of the analytical thinking. So in case of analytical thinking, there are 3 domains. In cognitive level, the strategy is the data collection. In the affective domain, it is cause and effect. And psychomotor domain is the case decomposition. What is the prompt we have to give? I already shared with you the prompt. If your students are only in cognitive, use the first prompt. Here I have given generate an analysis question that requires break-even calculation. In analytical thinking, definitely there will be a calculation. So find out what is the calculation. Okay. And if the students are in the affective domain, you can input both things because affective domain, if you want to go cognitive, is also needed. You have to give 2 prompts in the same thing. If you want to go to the psychomotor domain, give all the three prompts. Okay. Now you can do, I think I already shared this one. Go to the cloud. You already identified your topic. Then I hope you identified the thinking level. Each and every thinking level, I have given the prompt. This is the analytical one. You can see we have already shared that material, maybe from your IPSC coordinator from your department. Okay. This is for analytical thinking. Okay. So yeah, I'm showing some example from the Gemini also. So how you have to do in AI? First, you have to input the material. Here, for the break-even point, I identified the unit 16 of IGNO study notes. So I have given that one. Then same prompt, what we have given to you. Because I used to teach the break-even point in all the three domains, both cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domain. So I am giving the input into the Gemini. In the same manner, you can try Cloud AI means it will be perfect because it will read your input first. After reading that one, it will give the output nice. So first, think about the levels. Here is an example from the Gemini AI. In case of Gemini AI, given the prompt, you can see that one. It will give the output once you enter. My prompt is very clear. Same thing what I circulated with you. Give that prompt. Yes, the prompt I have given is here. In case of the analytical thinking, what is the prompt? Yes, three levels. If you are selecting cognitive, select first prompt. If you are selecting the all the three domains, select everything. Now you can run the one. Now the Gemini has given questions. You can see, yes, it has created the GRQ, that is graded responses questions, based upon the input. You can see, don't give directly to that one without inputting any materials. It clearly tells how you have to teach also. First level, second level, third level. First level is cognitive domain, second level affective, then psychomotor domain. It has given the questions, and all these questions are purely from the input materials you are given. This is for the BCom. In that material, it is not having higher level. So it stopped with the calculation and remaining things. So this is the pure guided responses question or graded responses question. If you are giving marks, it is graded response question. Now you can ask this question one by one and ask the students to do. This is the easiest way you can engage the student. Okay. Now I am stopping the sharing. You are going to share your screen. Whoever did that one. Yes. Well, anybody did in the Gemini or in Cloud AI, you can share your screen. What is your guided responses question or graded responses question? First registered in Cloud, then find out what is the topic you are going to teach. Once you identify the topic you want to teach, you have to find out what is the thinking level needed. After that thinking level needed, you have to find out what is the domain students are having inside the classroom. Then you have to find out the table. The table, I think I have given to you. If possible, I will share. Yes. I think this is the material I shared with you in the cloud. You can register in the cloud. First, what is the topic you want to teach inside the classroom? What is your outcome? What is the level of thinking? Level of thinking, I have given this thing. Analytical, holistic thinking, all this level we have given. Okay. Then, what is the domain level of the student? Assume your level because you are not inside the classroom now. So I identified that one. Once you identified, you can go to this table. Here prompt is there. First, this prompt is for analytical thinking. In case of analytical thinking, I have given this example. Of course, we are estimating that our students are having cognitive knowledge, affective knowledge, as well as the psychomotor knowledge. So this is the three prompts for that one. If your students are not in psychomotor, you will have two prompts: generate an analysis question that requires break even. Okay. Yeah. Now anyone can share your screen, what you created. You anything, whether you are created in analytical thinking or holistic thinking or meta cognitive thinking, whatever it may.
Sir, I can share my screen. I'm Max.
You shared. Yes, sir. Yes, Dr. Max has turned. So which topic you selected, sir?
School counseling, sir.
School counseling. So
Yeah.
what is the expected level of thinking you are expecting from your students?
Critical thinking.
Critical thinking, good.
Yeah.
Then what is the level of your students' domain inside the class?
I gave all three, sir.
All the three, good. Okay, you are from psychology. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now the question as you generated, you can
Yes.
show one by one. Sir, first level,
Can you see,
the
sir?
cognitive domain.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. What are all the questions you can raise inside the classroom? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Then affective.
Yes, affective. Then in case of psychomotor also.
Yeah.
And you can also ask it to generate rubrics also for the above.
Okay, sir.
You can type generate rubrics for evaluating the above. Yes, good.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now it has given in 3-point scaling. Easiest way. So what I will do, I sample checked with one of the courses taught in our college, in which the diverse students were there, psychology students, microbiology students, all of them will be there. So what we did immediately, once we generated, we can post in LMS. When students are answering, ask the students to answer one by one through the chat. One student answered, you can copy paste in the AI and immediately you can generate the result for the students and give it to the students along with suggestion. That is what we needed in the formative assessment. Very good, sir. So any other faculty you can share how we are going to do that one, like Maxim, sir. Yes. From science. What happened? Nobody is sharing. Nagadipa, madam. Yes, Janani, madam, you are, yes. Good, she used the cloud. Yes, madam, you can tell first what is the topic you selected? You can switch
Sir,
on your
residential status, sir.
residential status. Or whether you are given input.
Yes, I gave my residential status PDF, how to determine all those things.
Mm,
So I have
okay, then
selected only the question based on the analytical thinking.
only analytical thinking.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I
What is
wanted to
the
one by
domain
one.
you expect? Whether cognitive or affective and psychomotor?
Cognitive.
Cognitive only.
Yes, sir. So one by
Okay,
one I have to check
one
because
by
the
one.
next level, first one level,
Hmm.
next one, like that I can check so that I can easily identify the people.
Yes. Okay, good. Because this taxation, we
Hmm.
need only cognitive domain.
Yes,
Good.
yes,
So
sir.
you
That's
can
right.
see
Hmm.
it has given the questions immediately. So you can
So
post this question inside in the LMS during the
yes,
class time, and they can answer. And you can also create some rubrics, madam, to evaluate that one.
sure, sir. I
You
will
can
develop, sir. After this, I will develop the rubric also.
create the rubrics for evaluating the above.
Yes,
If
sir.
you
Thank
give
you,
that
sir.
one, it will come.
Sure,
Okay,
sir. Sure.
good. So this type of method we can use inside the class also to teach one by one. It will give clearly the step by step. So we are able to achieve the outcome level clearly. Our outcome level is well defined. We have to go for the exactly the outcome. We have to use the Bloom's taxonomy. And another thing, we are going to satisfy the domain levels of the students, and we have to incorporate the thinking power. So since we have to do all those things, you have to create for the document purpose. In case of MIT, the lesson planning is like that. I'm not telling to IQAC members. I'm telling only to others. In MIT, they created the lesson plan for each and every class like that only. So the faculty members are giving marks. I think you might have seen even in the one session, they clearly mentioned that we are going for microcredit. So what they did in case of MIT, immediately they will give the marks. A session will have minimum 2 hour session. In the 2 hour session, and they will evaluate the students and give the mark. So we are able to clearly judge the students, and they will give even the feedback to the students after completing that one. That is possible. So my opinion, best thing now we can move towards the different levels. Here I have given the rubrics also. One thing I tested, a nice student from microbiology, Dira, last time we tested how these rubrics are working in the second level, and they are studying the subject entrepreneurship. But the student comes from microbiology. We tested and she got around 17 out of 21 at the end. All these things we tested in the college already. So you may, through the LMS, we ask the students to do. Everything is done by the students nicely. So my opinion, now it is the time to move on towards the affective and psychomotor domain as well as the thinking power. So inside the classroom, we have to think. This thing I already shared. You can go through this thing. Each and every thinking power, the answers are different. So when you are giving the prompt to the AI, we have already defined. It is not defined by me. It is defined by the MIT people. Then in case of Indian situation, they changed in IIT. Few things they changed because we are living in India. Okay. Once you achieve that one, if you achieve the last level, it means that you have achieved the design thinking power to the students. Now we are speaking about the design thinking. So once you achieve the metacognitive thinking power to the students, definitely our students will be a design thinkers. And you can clearly tell that our students are design thinkers. They can do any project or anything at any time. That is the value added learning to our students. You can see all these things. You can refer my PowerPoint, everything, each and everything I have given. This is the last level of thinking, metacognitive thinking. The students should achieve the naturalization. If you target the students with the metacognitive thinking, definitely they can do themselves, even without the guidance of the faculty. But first thing you have to simulate and give. I done a nice example in case of Monte Carlo simulation inside the classroom using the metacognitive thinking for one subject, that is financial computing analytics. Students prove that one. Yeah. So only one thing you must know, what is the AI prompt used in the thinking power. All these 10 thinking power, the prompts are different. So the rules are defined well in advance. So we are moving towards the outcome-based education with all the domain level, and we are going to make our students. So the technology will empower us, but if you become an expertise, you are the person who is the king inside the classroom. Even if the students are coming from different segments, we need not worry. You can use this type of graded response questions, and you can manage the students inside the class. That is my opinion. And you can, it is our responsibility to change our students into a design thinker. First, we can start class from the analytical thinking. When you come to the final topic, let them move towards the design thinking in the fifth unit or in the fourth unit, whatever it may be. So here is the reference. You can refer this book, How People Learn. Based upon that only, UNESCO created the new scheme, and in the new scheme also they define everything clearly. What are all the thinking are needed for the students, that is future students. So this is the basic book based upon that UNESCO created. I wish to thank Professor Thomas Mellon, who gone through this presentation. He is from MIT, Center of Collective Intelligence Review. And this is converted to Indian style by Professor Sanjay Dev from IIT Delhi. With this, I am stopping my presentation. So it is now your turn. You can ask question. I think we are having only a few minutes left.
Participants, any questions?
Sir, I can make say a point, not exactly a
Yes, sir.
question. Thank you so much, sir. This session has been very helpful to me. You very clearly, in a very simple manner, explained how to, design assessment for different types of learners for formative assessment within the class, and you demonstrated it. I found it very helpful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Yes, any faculty, if you are created, you can tell about that one, how the response is coming clearly.
Any more questions?
Sir, I want to ask, we can use these 3 domains even for quizzes or long answer questions or any type of assessment is what I'm guessing.
Yes, any type you can use, but UNESCO clearly mentioned that since we are in higher education, you have to come out of quiz question. Quizzes are not needed. Only in case of first level cognitive thinking as well as the cognitive domain, we need the quiz. But when we come to the higher education, we have to impart the psychomotor. So our teaching method, our evaluating method should be different. So in my opinion, in higher education system, don't mistaken me, at least in PG level, don't go for quiz. Better than you can use these type of graded questions. so that we can bring the students' thinking power. In UG level, you can use that too. Also, higher education means we are moving towards the working knowledge. Even recently, NBA accreditation, they introduced this one as a mandatory one, National Board of Accreditation. They already mandated for engineering. So if you are moving towards that graded response system, students' power will change. They won't think about the original one. They will think about a new method. That is why even though you can create the question, same thing in quiz for all these domains and all the thinking power. It is possible. AI can output the result. But in higher education system, we can move towards the other levels.
Okay, sir. Sir, can you please explain again? I think I lost somewhere the word graded response, sir. What is exactly meant by graded response? I
Yes,
understood
there are
other.
two things.
Yes.
Both are same in some cases. Graded response question, guided response questions. Because first we are creating the guided response questions
Yes.
inside the classroom for teaching. Guided response question is for teaching. It will guide the students what question we have to ask. You might have seen in break-even point clearly, or in the tax questions. It clearly tells that what is the first question you have to ask the student, what is the second question you have to ask the student, so that you can bring the student into a thinking power and achieve your outcome in the cognitive domain. That is the guided response system. Yes. A graded response system, you will create additionally the rubrics also. Best thing, what you will do, you will post all these questions in LMS and you will ask the students to do inside the classroom. And you will give the grade for each and everything. If the student achieve the first level, you will give the first point. If the students achieve the second level, you will give the second points graded. So slowly you will make our students to achieve all those things. It is not that slow learners will complete what to the first level. It is not like that. You have to make the students one by one. Yes, Ramya madam is asking how to grade 60 to 80 students inside the classroom. It is very easy. Now we are having AI, no? You can use the LMS, ask the students to post all the questions in chat. You can simply copy and post it in Cloud AI, give the, based upon the rubrics, give the grading for all the students and feedback. It will clearly give name of the student because in our LMS, the names are already there. Name, their grade, as well as feedback for each and every student. That is the customized feedback for all the students. I have shown one example for the Adira from microbiology department. It has given clearly feedback for all the students. But you have to define the rubric in advance and you have to input. Even you can, students are 120, you can generate within maximum 1 minute. That is why Cloud AI is there. Use the Cloud AI. That is my suggestion. If you use Cloud AI, if you are going to the class, when you are coming out of the class, students will get the feedback from you. Never expect that students are slow learners, fast learners. We are moving towards the inclusive education. Everybody should complete all those things. With the help of feedback, they have to develop themselves. We have to achieve the inclusive education in teaching. Thank you, madam. Yes, what are the some of your effective steps to avoid plagiarism? Why you are inside the class? Faculty is inside the class. Definitely they can't copy and paste because this is the questions are in such a manner that once you completed the first step, then only they can do the second step. So 99.9% there won't be any plagiarism because the graded questions are entirely different one. It is a step-by-step process. We need not worry about the plagiarism. Our aim, student is able to learn, achieve our outcome.
Any more questions?
Okay.
Okay, sir.
You can refer the notes we have circulated. I think all the faculty is having as the prompt as well as the PowerPoint thing with the examples for each and everything. It is already given to you. You can refer all those. That is, we should have a prompt engineering diary as a repository inside the classroom.
Thank you, sir, for an
Thank you, sir.
enlightening and thought-provoking session on the art and science of question paper setting. Your expertise has provided us with valuable perspective on designing meaningful assessment that truly reflect learning outcomes. Thank you, sir. Now we will have a short break, and next session will be starting at 11:40 a.m.
We can start by 11:30 itself, sir. Yeah. It's already 11:16 only. So we'll start by 11:30, sir. Yeah.
Okay, madam.
Thank you, Baba sir. It was excellent as usual. And you also gave us content to relook the content in a very calm and quiet manner. So it is more useful learning for all of us. Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, all of you.